You have been somewhere else tonight. Not metaphorically. Somewhere that felt completely real. You heard voices. You moved through spaces. You felt fear or joy or urgency or love. And then you woke up and realized that none of it existed. That the place was not a place. That the people were not people. That your brain had constructed an entire world from nothing and then convinced you completely that you were living inside it. And here is the part that should unsettle you. While you were there, you did not question it for a single moment. You did not think this seemed strange. You did not notice the impossibilities. You accepted everything without hesitation. The dream was reality, and reality was somewhere you had completely forgotten. Why does that happen? Why does a brain that is sophisticated enough to question everything it encounters during waking life switch off its skepticism entirely the moment it starts dreaming? The answer reaches into some of the deepest and most unresolved questions in neuroscience. When you fall into REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep, your brain does not go quiet. It does the opposite. Neuroimaging studies have shown that during REM sleep, the visual cortex becomes intensely active. The motor cortex activates. The emotional centers of the brain, including the amygdala, fire at levels comparable to or even exceeding what they do during waking experience. Your brain is not resting. It is running a full simulation. But something critical is different. The prefrontal cortex, which is the region responsible for logical reasoning and reality testing and self-awareness, becomes dramatically less active during REM sleep. This is the region that would normally ask the question, does this make sense? Does this follow from what I know to be true? Is this real? During dreaming, that voice goes quiet. The editor leaves the room, and whatever the brain generates goes unchallenged. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker at the University of California, Berkeley, has described dreaming as a form of overnight therapy. But it is also something more than that. It is the brain running without its own quality control system. Every image, every sound, every emotion that surfaces gets treated as real because the system that would flag it as false has been taken offline. This explains something most people have noticed but never fully understood. In a dream, you can be in a place that is simultaneously your childhood home, and a hospital, and a supermarket, and somehow none of that strikes you as strange. You accept impossible geography. You accept people who are somehow two different people at once. You accept that the rules of physics do not apply, and you do not question any of it, because the part of your brain that would notice the contradiction is not running. Researcher Ursula Voss at the University of Frankfurt has studied the neural signatures of dreaming in detail. What she found is that the brain during ordinary dreaming shows a specific pattern of activity that is distinct from both waking and from other stages of sleep. But what is particularly interesting is what happens during lucid dreaming. A lucid dream is a dream in which the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming. And when that happens, the prefrontal cortex reactivates. The moment self-awareness returns, the brain recognizes the dream as a dream. The spell breaks not because the content changes, but because the monitoring system comes back online. This tells us something profound. The reality of a dream is not a property of the dream itself. It is a property of whether or not you have a functioning observer watching it. But there is a deeper question underneath all of this. If your brain can generate a world that feels completely real, a world with texture and light and sound and emotion and physical sensation, then what exactly is the difference between that experience and waking experience? What makes the waking world more real than the dream world beyond the fact that you can check it against a consistent set of memories when you wake up? Philosopher Rene Descartes wrestled with exactly this question in the 17th century, and he could not resolve it definitively. He could not prove from the inside of his own experience that he was not dreaming. The best he could offer was that waking experience seemed more coherent and more consistent than dreaming. But coherence and consistency are not the same as reality. Neuroscientist Anil Seth at the University of Sussex has argued that what we call ordinary waking perception is itself a kind of controlled hallucination. The brain is not passively receiving information from the outside world. It is actively generating predictions about what is out there and then checking those predictions against incoming sensory data. What you experience as reality is actually your brain's best guess about what is causing the signals coming in from your senses. In dreaming, that process continues, but the sensory check is removed. The brain generates its predictions, but there is no incoming data from the external world to test them against. So the predictions become the experience. The hallucination runs without correction, which means that the question of why dreams feel real has an unsettling answer. Dreams feel real for exactly the same reason that waking life feels real, because in both cases your brain is generating the experience. The only difference is that during the day there is an external world pushing back against the generation, and at night there is not. You are never experiencing reality directly. You are always experiencing your brain's construction of it. The dream just makes that visible.